Damn, I need to work on that music just a little bit. Hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity with your podcast host, Keegan. And this is your podcast for all mental health, addiction, recovery issues, and topics. Now, I know that I'm live streaming a little bit late today, but it's because I had duty calls. I I had duty call in the form of a phone call to a friend. And I'm not going to get into the specifics of anything like that because it's not my story to tell. But what I can say is that, damn, someone needed an ear. And I needed that too. Because I also got the gift of having an ear and an understanding one at that. And it is honestly a blessing in disguise because oh man. First, let me get into this question real quick. Do you know what it's like to actually feel broken? Do you actually know what it's like to want to give up and have? Well, let's just kind of talk it out real quick, right? So, also, if you want to join the Discord community, we have a clubhouse going, and it is a fun, supportive group of people that are just trying to help each other out through hard times. So, right now, it's small, but we are live streaming on TikTok to help build the community. So, if you want a part of that, we're going to start live streaming on TikTok on Friday and Saturday 10:45 Central to about midnight ish or a little bit later, as per pattern seems to be. And then other nights we'll be doing mini streams, so like 30 minutes just to catch up with the community, see if anyone has anything like a drop, a rock they need to drop or anything like that. And so, yeah, it's really fun. Come on over if you want. But, anyways, if you've been feeling broken, if you've ever felt like you really want to give up, I'm right there with you. And I know for me, sometimes the only thing that I really needed was for someone to actually just give a damn. And that's the thing, right? Like, I never really knew how I wanted people to give a damn because I thought I was fucking worthless. I thought I was worthless. I didn't mean to curse right there. I do realize that I might have to rebrand because it, cursing is just part of it, man. It's part of life. I come from a background of addiction, and I come from a background of just being Irish, you know. So curse words are not anything that I shy away from, except for whenever I have to air my stuff on the radio, because then they're like, "Hey, we gotta bleep it out." And so I try to help them out, and I don't like to edit too much stuff out during post production. I don't even like editing out curse words and stuff like that. So it's like, it's easier to censor myself in the middle of it or right before it. And I'm not the best at it. And some people get turned off by it, but at the same time, fuck them. If they have a problem with a fucking word, oh no. But at the same time, I'm trying to reach anyone, and that's maybe not going to be their cup of tea. Oh well. But whenever it comes to actually feeling broken, like you want to give up, like I wanted to give up, there's nothing I could have really expected that would have worked. You know, what I mean by that is anything that I was wanting in the moment, it's not what would have helped. And I say that because, again, I come from a background of addiction. I come from just a bunch of not fun stuff necessarily. Like, I'm not saying I had a terrible past or childhood or anything like that. It was probably average, I want to say, or maybe not, maybe more adventurous in some regards. And I don't know. Like, that's the thing. My perspective to me, I'm me. I'm normal. I'm an average Joe. And that's just how it is. That's why I don't think that anything I do is special. But I also learned false humility, and that also came from self depreciation, self deprecation, and just thinking that I wasn't worth anything. I still fight that. You know, I still fight. Am I worth this? Am I worth anything? Like this show, like I've sat here and poured my heart out, and it's like, oh yeah, not a lot of stuff's coming from it. And it's like, okay, well, And I'm not expecting like grand results or to go viral. I just want someone to listen and hear. And that's the thing. Some people are listening and hearing, and that's enough for me. Like sometimes I have to keep an ego check, but that's literally just to remind myself that it's not about downloads, it's about connection with others. That's why we have the community going. Because I saw that there was a need, and I don't know how else to fill that besides using a microphone and a camera and the internet. So I offer a space for people to come and talk, you know, on an online platform in a semi anonymous way that gives them someone to listen to them and not call them crazy, not judge them, not anything like that. Just hear them out. And so I've been working on this and it's been fun, but there's still moments where it's like I don't need that kind of platform to do that kind of thing, and this was a perfect example of it. Someone reached out and said like, "Hey, like I have been through some stuff. Like, you want to call? Like, can we call later?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah. Like, let me finish work, because this is a story I can already tell. So let me finish up work and everything, and I'm all yours for a little bit." And speaking of, I need to reach out to my sponsee. We'll get to that later. But anyways, I get off the phone with this friend, and like I just realized that I needed all that too. And he, well, not he, they, they offered me that understanding ear as well, right? They offered me space, they offered me healing, they offered me no judgment. They, the same thing that I'm trying to offer others, I got in return. That's what, sometimes you just have to be heard. You just have to have a voice. But that's the thing, is that if you don't have a voice, then how can anyone hear you? And that's the thing, like, I told my story with some brutal honesty that I haven't even, like, there's maybe two or three other people that I know the full details of my side of the story. And it doesn't come easy whenever I say that kind of stuff. It got easier this time, but it's because someone was already opening up to me about some pretty heavy stuff. And so they offered space as well. And so I took it because I needed it, you know? And old me would have said no because you're going through your own problems and I don't want to burden you with my own. And in my experiences, whenever someone is offering help of some kind in that way, shape, or form, it is from the good of their heart. It is because they care. They know that they're taking on a burden. They know that they are taking on extra weight. But they're not going to call it a burden. They're not going to call it extra weight. They're going to call themselves support. Whenever I think about this, you have two people, right? Now, you have a doorway, but what's the problem with the doorway, right? Like if you have one post here, and a wall, and you want to have something going over the door, you kind of need like a door frame, right? So you got your door, but the door frame has a top. And the top is kind of not the best, but if you have an arch, that's really good. It's super strong. It looks cooler and just is just all around better in some way, shapes, and forms, right? Now, I'm not going to get into that whole thing. I'm not an architect, but just basic physics. And so the point of an arch is you have to have your keystone, right? And you have to have your center point. So whenever you have both ends going towards each other, you have that one in the middle that stops it from collapsing on each other and reinforces everything and makes your arched doorway. It's super cool. If you haven't ever built one, try it out because it's trippy, but whenever you get it, it's super cool. It's fun. But like that's the thing, right? Um, like I didn't expect this. Um, and I'm not on trying to say that I needed to be heard, but I did. And I'm not trying to say that my story is worth more or anything because it's not. But I think I digress. Back to the arch. So whenever you have someone that is willing to do that, and you're both hurting, let's face it, right now, everyone is hurting in some way, shape, and form. And it's just how much are they willing to admit it? Because everyone hurts, and that's why life is hard. It just hurts. So if someone is willing to open up and then do that, like receive the same stuff that they just put out, it's because they just poured from their cup. They just emptied out some of their stuff. And so they're offering you space to refill their cup. Like, it's really cool. And so that keystone is a mutual, like, outcome kind of thing. Because if someone is to pour their heart out and then they say, and I'm here for anyone else, or I'm here for you in the same way that you were for me, and that person says, no, no, thanks. That's rejection, and that kind of hurts, right? It's kind of like dissing a compliment. And like that's the thing, like I don't ever want anyone to feel like they can't open up and talk to me about anything. And I know that there's a lot of like taboo, but there's definitely taboo of sorts. But there's a lot of things a lot of people don't want to talk about for the sheer fact that it makes them uncomfortable or makes other people uncomfortable, and it makes it to where they feel like they can't reach out to anyone about that kind of thing. And that's what makes people find a hermit shell, a hermit crab shell, just find a corner, find a closet, and just hide. Just stay away from everyone because it's easier that way because no one's going to reject them. No one's going to just not accept them. They're afraid of judgment, they're afraid of everything. And it's not cool. It's really not cool. So, I mean, it's a real blessing whenever someone actually offers themselves in an open, vulnerable way to show you who they are, show you their story, and then they say, "And I'm ready to hear yours." It's like, whoa, like it's pretty cool. And like I've always not wanted to bother people. I've always not wanted to annoy people. I've never wanted to do a whole bunch of things. And so I don't ask for those. I don't ask all the time that like, hey, I'm struggling. I need someone to like listen and stuff like that because I did that in the past. I did that in high school, middle school, and after high school. And you know what it got me? It got me annoyed friends that didn't want to talk to me. And not only that, but I also burned bridges a lot because I would have this idea of I pissed this person off, I upset them because I did this. And so to mitigate further action or further damage, I would avoid it, avoid them and everything. And that's not cool. And so I shut off and burnt a lot of bridges whenever I didn't have to. And I really hate that. I do. And I don't know. I'm really, really grateful that I have a friend like that. And I have a few. I do have a few that I could sit there and I could call up and say, hey, I'm going through the shit. Like, I just need someone to hear me out. Not necessarily give me advice, but just relate and say, like, yeah, it sounds like that's pretty fucking shitty. Sounds like it's pretty hard, man. And it's like, yeah, but like, how do you do that? How do you ask for help? How do you ask for an ear whenever you don't feel like you're worth it? Whenever you don't feel like it's going to be received or not have judgment behind it. How do you do that? You don't. That's sheer fact. You don't. If you're afraid of it being rejected and stuff like that, if you don't have a lot of self worth like I did, then you probably won't, and you'll suffer in silence. And I don't want anyone to suffer in silence. So, like, again, just if you're ever going through anything, like, and you're watching this, I don't know who you are, and that's okay. I'll probably never know, but if you ever need an ear, if you ever need an ear, shoot me a message. I may have fallen over because I shouldn't say that, but it's because, like, truthfully, I'm okay. I'm I am stretched thin. I am stretched thin, but I've done it to myself. But that's the funny thing too, right? Is like, yeah, you stretch yourself too thin, you gotta stop stuff. And it's like, but I'm convincing myself that it's for the betterment of other people, which is true. But at the same time, if I don't take care of myself, I can't take care of other people. So I'm like having to figure out, like, how do I break this stuff up into like manageable chunks or schedules? And I keep adding more and more stuff, and more stuff gets put on the back burner. And it's just one of those things, right? Like, I don't make time for my stir, for my stir, for my story to be heard because I don't feel like it's worth it. And it is to someone that's struggling out there, and they can say, this guy gets it. But that's the thing too, is that, like, they have to get past the rest of this. And the really crappy thing is that, like, I have an expression on my DNA that just gives me a more happy demeanor, apparently. Who knew? I'm not actually bipolar. I have ADHD, possibly autism. And so it's like, oh, okay. But I have this happy demeanor outlook that makes a lot of people would go like, a performance. You're putting on a performance or whatever. And it's like, no, this is just who I am. And so it was easier to adopt a stoic outlook and act like a IDGAF punk, right? And that's the way that I try to live, but that is not who I am whatsoever. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm going to smile and try to tell you that it's good, and I'm going to act silly while I do it. And that's the thing too, like, if people watch this and they're like, he's putting on a show, he's just performing. No, I'm not. I'm literally just doing this. You can ask my wife. You can ask my parents. You can ask my siblings. You can ask my friends I grew up with that I was comfortable not being masked around, All the kids in high school band. You could ask them. I was more unmasked in band than any part of school. Band was my jam. I love band. But, like, that's the thing. I'm just getting to the point of having a little bit of self worth. A little bit. Little bit. And I don't know. Sometimes I hear my own story coming back or whatnot, and I'm like, damn, like, I really don't want to bother people with it. Like, it's not a good story or this, that, or another. And whenever I got done telling my friend about it, all they had to say was like, damn, like, holy shit. Like, you've been through it too. Like, you and I have seen a lot of shit. And I was like, yeah, especially the last couple of years, like, yeah. And, like, I needed someone to just see it, I guess. And it's not that it hasn't, but sometimes you have to hear a certain thing from a certain person or certain type of person or someone that's been through similar things before it really just lands, before it sticks, you know. And I mean, sorry, I'm not trying to cry. I'm trying the opposite. I'm trying to suck them back in. Um, and that's another thing. Like, part of me is like, do I post this? Do I post my solo episodes? And yeah, I'm gonna start posting my solo episodes again. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people like the conversational aspect. Around 3,000 people liked it on the radio before I started doing interviews. So someone out there gives a damn. But like, it's one thing to hear and listen to someone's story, then and another thing to engage with it and be like, yeah, I relate. Like, I get that. I feel that. And so I don't want people to suffer in silence. It's the worst. It is the worst. I'd rather have someone always tell me like, hey, like, this is what's bothering me. Like, it can't be every day, because every day there's something else going on. There's deeper wounds and what they're complaining about and stuff, right? But I would much rather have a friend that, if I don't hear from them for like a week or two or a month, and finally we establish contact again, it's like, hey, how's it going? I don't necessarily always want to hear like, yeah, pretty good, like, oh, same old, same old. I, I, I'm okay with hearing like how you're actually feeling, how you're actually doing. But whenever I get those kind of responses, it's kind of like, oh, I shouldn't like hit them with the truth. I shouldn't tell them like, ooh, I'm kind of struggling right now. Like, ooh, I'm a little mentally strained. I'm mentally stressed. I'm this, that, or another. I shouldn't tell them that, because they're fine. Why would I want to rain on their parade? And sometimes, the, sometimes the friends aren't the same friends that you thought they are, and then sometimes the ones that have been there all along are the ones that have been there all along, and I need to get my head out of my butt. But it's the same thing, right? Like, I was a Debbie Downer in high school. I really was. And uh, I was a Debbie Downer to the people who would listen, but that's because I didn't know I was hurting so bad, and I didn't know how to fix it either. I thought I would fix it through other people, or by ignoring it, or by alcohol and stuff. So it it's just different whenever you actually like have one of those connections, one of those deep talks. I mean, we were on the phone for almost 3 hours. So yeah, it was a deep talk. We talked about a lot, and it was not a one-sided story either. Like, we both got a good bit of trauma dumping out, I guess you can say. And man, it felt good. It did feel good. And it's not like it was anything recent on my part. Much more recent on their part, but on my part is like, it's something that eats me up, because, and I've talked about it a few times on the podcast, but I haven't published those episodes because it's like, do I really want to post that? Like, I may do it on my Patreon, and so if anyone really wants my backstory, they can just pay $5 for it. Ta-da! But that's the thing, like, how do I get it to where, like, I don't want people to think that I'm putting on a performance. I think that's putting some people away, because I smile. Because I don't want anyone to tell me their story, their heartfelt story, and be met with this, yeah. hmm I want them to know that I'm here and I'm welcoming to them with open arms, no judgment. And like, I have a freaking smirk, like, smile. Like, this is just a part of my face. That dimple, that permanent dimple, It's because I have a smirk almost all the time because I try to have a happy outlook. And sometimes it gets me in trouble. Sometimes it gets me in trouble. But that also usually comes in the form of me expecting everyone else to try to be a little bit happy about certain situations, places, and things, or rather, me having expectations on people, places, and things, you know? Um, so, man, I really need to blow my nose. Sorry. I didn't blow it out there, don't worry. But like that's the thing too. Like I'm about to quit this. Like you can't tell, but this is like brown. Well, you may be able to. Like it's not good. It's honestly tasteless, and it sucks. And I've told myself, and I've told other people, like once this pod is like to the point to where I'm like, it makes me really sad. Then I'm done with vaping, and going to try at least. I did it before. I can do it again. And that's the thing, right? Like, part of me is a little scared because it's like, it's a crutch. And right there, it's like the crutch. Like, I don't need a crutch. And I have a cane if I need it. I've got a walking stick if I need it. You go on adventures with a walking stick, with a staff, you know? And that's more what mine is. It's more of a staff. It's not a walking stick, let's be honest. Um, I could go get it, but it's in the car. Uh, but yeah, that's the thing, you know, just I want to quit vaping again. I want to be more uh, habitual in my exercise and meditations, which I'm trying because of the Next Level podcast class, which I'm super excited about. And I look at the WhatsApp and everything, and then like I'm like, am I being annoying? Like, am I talking too much? Like, am I a chatty Cathy? And I am. Like, that's part of my thing. I have ADHD and or autism, and that's the thing. Like, I will over explain myself. I will say something and then give a reasoning to why I think the way that I said something. And so some people will do like 1 or 2 sentence replies, right? They're like that big. And my replies are like, because I'm like, here's this and why. Like I don't want to do it, but I feel like if I don't back up my thought that it's invalidated. I feel like if I don't say why why I explain things the way I do, people either won't get it, ugh, either people won't get it or they'll dismiss it because I don't know. Like I have, and it goes back to childhood. It really does because I would think wrong, I would act wrong, and stuff like that. But again, whenever you're a kid, you don't know how to necessarily interpret those messages, and so it translated to I am wrong, I am not worthy, and I don't deserve to voice my opinion, kind of thing, right? So why should I? So it's, man, I don't know. I'm just going off on freaking tangent, I guess. And I needed it. You know, I needed someone to hear me out. What an unbiased, non-judgmental ear. That's all I needed. And so I want to offer that to people too. And I willingly offer it. And I mean, if you want to stop on by a TikTok, come on by a TikTok. If you want to stop by Twitch, haven't figured that one out, but we'll get there. If you want to be on the podcast, we can get you on the podcast, and so on and so forth. Like, if I could make this my job to where I just, not this part necessarily, like, it is nice to, this is more catharsis, but the podcast interviews and then turning them into like content and stuff like that for everyone else and building community, live streaming and talking to chat and stuff. If that were my job, I would be so freaking happy. Like, that's the thing. Like, I'm not trying to get lucrative with anything like this. It's, I feel aligned and that it is my purpose to give an open, unbiased, non-judgmental space to people. And like, I don't know how to make money doing that besides being a therapist, and I don't have time or the money to go to school to be a therapist. So I'm just going to learn from the best, from everyone that I can, and translate that into real life experiences on an online platform where people are free to be themselves. And that is literally the best that I can do. You know, at this point in time, it is the best. And I'm going to say that it is good enough for at least someone out there. I don't know who. I don't know if right now. I don't know when for sure. But someone out there needs an ear. And I want to give it to them because I don't want anyone to suffer in silence. So if you're suffering in silence, don't. Reach out, call someone you love if you can. And if you can't get a hold of anyone or anything, come join the Discord community. We got a few loving members in there, and then we could always use more. And if you ever need to get in touch with me for whatever reason, you can find my address, not address, stay away from my house. You can find my email address on retrievingsanity.com. You can find it on YouTube. And so that's the thing. Like, I have all these random people messaging me like, hey, I got this interview person or this and so on and so forth. And I'm like, this is really cool. But like, that's the thing. Like, I undo my Podmatch, like, not undo, I made my Podmatch profile visible for like a couple days. I got 25 messages, no, 26 or 27. And I was like, dude, that's half a year right there if I just did one a week. I was like, oh man. I was like, oh, I'm still booked out till December. Like, I have a few openings here and there between now and December, but it's like I'm about to start booking in people into next year, and I haven't because I'm afraid that this may flop. So I'm trying to not have that creep in. I'm trying to not have that mindset. And it's not necessarily that it's going to flop. I'm afraid that I'll lose the passion behind it because after speaking to everyone about burnout and stuff, it's like, oh, burnout is about not receiving anything back from what you're putting out for others. And you don't feel like I wouldn't feel like I'm getting anything in return. And that's the thing. Like, building the community has given me something right there, right back. But I want to do so much more with anyone and everyone that it's like, why does a normal job have to get in the way? And there's a lot of really stupid answers for that, and there's not enough time for me to go into it. And I think Jordy is about to be home, and I don't want her to be waiting around too much, or anything like that. She probably thinks I still had an interview. Lady emailed me last night and told me that it was last night or the night before. Either way, they had let me know they were eating some chicken and bit down on chicken bone too hard on accident, and their filling popped out. And I was like, oh no. So they had to get an emergency dental appointment. And it's totally fine. Like, by all means. And on that note, if you have, I'm not going to give medical advice online. I don't want to get in trouble. All I can say is that there are ways to take care of tooth pains that you don't have to go to the dentist for. Just saying, I got rid of really bad toothache infection without prescriptions. So it sucked. I don't have most of that tooth anymore, but that's because I probably killed the nerve. So don't. That's why I'm not going to tell you how I did it. Yay! So yeah, with that, we're going to end it here. I don't know what else to say. I'm rambling, and hopefully you got something out of this. And again, I love you. Like, this weird little random dude loves you. Okay? So keep your light in this world. It's meant for someone, even for yourself. So just hang in there, and we'll get through it one day at a time, okay? Much love. Shalom.